HighBridge, a division of recorded books, presents Lima, Limón by Natalie Scenters-Zapico. Read by Kyla García. Y los niños cantan a la rueda, rueda, esta triste copla que el viento la lleva. A la lima y al limón, tú no tienes quien te quiera. A la lima y al limón, te vas quedar soltera. Qué penita y qué dolor, qué penita y qué dolor. La vecinita de enfrente soltera se quedó. And the children sing round and round, this sad copla that the wind takes, from the lemon to the lime, you have no one to love you. From the lemon to the lime, you will end up single. What pain and what shame, what pain and what shame. The little neighbor girl from in front ended up single. Conchita Piquer, Lima, Limón. Lima, Limón. Infancia. I want to be the lemons in the bowl on the cover of the magazine. I want to be round, to be yellow, to be pulled from branches. I want to be wax, to be white with pith, to be bright, to be zested in the corners of a table. I want you to say my name like the word, lemon. Say it like the word, limón. Undress me in strands of rind. I want my saliva to be citrus. I want to corrode my husband's wedding ring. I want to be a lemon with my equator marked in black ink, small dashes to show my shape, pitted and convex. Neo-machismo. To see if you're still alive, heat caramel in a pan until it spits asteroids on your arms. Take good care of your burns. Your scars should never last longer than 2 years. Pain needs a clean slate to play on. Wear a red dress and let men pull at it all night. Your desire? To have your hair pulled, to bleed, to lick your wounds like a dog in heat. Say you're sorry for getting angry. Say you're sorry for being angry. Say you're sorry that you're angry. Anger is the emotion of men. By adding sugar, lime, and salt, you can turn anger into sadness as a good woman should. Stop sobbing. It's ugly. Instead, emulate the glass tears on virgins who look up to the men who bruise their bodies. Tell your man, "You're machista." Have him repeat this statement back to you in HTML. Like in the movies, let the pot boil over. Until he screams, he'll send you back home to your mother. When he can't stop laughing, laugh too. Become the foreigner who doesn't understand. Ay, pena, penita, pena. Listen to Lola Flores and search for the pain between your eyes on WebMD. Don't feel bad if you sob in one room while he reads about aporia in the next. Like La Lola Flores, you have beautiful hair. Unlike La Lola, sell it to make rent. Laugh when he says, mija, cabrona, ingrata, and eres mía. Assure him he's not turning into his father. When he says you are letting this happen, don't reply. Put his fingers in your mouth and hold your breath when he asks, who taught you to hate yourself? In the age of los Zetas, Saint Michael hangs demons with velvet thread and opens a torrent of tissue flames in a scene created in a box of Altoids. Saint Michael bites a cracked enamel heart, too big for his tiny plastic cleft to carry. I am in mourning in the bloodiest year of Mexican history. I stare at Saint Michael, my little automaton, and feed myself weak old bread that crumbles my teeth to dirt. I save my oral rubble to sell as earth for the burial of men. Men who only value a woman for her extra rib. That holy thing that breaks and heals without a cast. Men who want to fill my body with a clutter of spiders, eager to eat the flies that swarm my uterine lining. In the age of los Zetas, I only take what I can carry, a reliquary of clots, all the children I've failed to bear because I've been hit by men who, in their thirst for me, strangled a flash flood into our kitchen. Don't tell me I deserve better in the age of los Zetas. I am blessed with a man as beautiful as Saint Michael, whose shirts I pierce, tug, and embroider with roses made from a demon's noosed velvet thread. Lima Limon. Azar. I lie on my back in the grass and let the weight of a man on top of me. Out of breath, he searches for a place on my body that hasn't flooded. The only dry patch left is my hair, which he uses to wipe the sweat from his face. He is disgusted because I have turned the earth beneath us damp. He says I am an experience, like standing in an irrigated grove of lemon trees. He says I am the water pooled at each trunk, infused with citrus and pesticide. He says my moisture brings mold, and my body is nauseating. I wonder if I had not said his name over and over, would he still think of me as small and round and fresh as lemon? As vaginal and arched as Limon? At a party, I tell a story and ask, "Isn't that funny?" I've yet to find someone who laughs. Instead, people observe me for a sign of how a man could have been mistaken. How he could have pulled his car next to me and asked, "How much?" Why, I responded, "No, I'm sorry." It's like the opening of Butterfield 8 with blood instead of lipstick. No sale. It's how I screamed at my last blood test because my blood drew black for lack of iron. The nurse, "What is your diet?" "Cardboard and batteries." "And your mother's?" "Ink and bullets." "And your father's?" "Hatpins and terraria." In my pocket, a peso I thumb, hoping to change it for $1. I run from man to man. They are all kissing behind glass doors, asking for an exchange. $1 for this peso. Just $1. I run to the park, searching for a dolarero. "Will you give me $1? Just $1 for a peso?" There's no dolarero, and I'm left running with a peso in my hand. I didn't die in the park. And where I'm from, it's a blessing not to be a woman gagged by electrical tape and bound to the hood of a car. My death wish? A grain of sand will kill me, and I will be born again as a crab, scuttling across a kitchen table, paid for by a peso that could afford my delicate legs. I am a la mode. Using a number 2 pencil, I circle the vein under my right eye, the scar from a sore on my upper lip, an arrow to show how my left ear sticks out more than my right. I want to correct all that prevents me from becoming divine, appear to every man like a virgin apparition in the flesh. I powder my face to glow, pinch the saggy skin under my eyes until I cry. I repeat, it's good to look sad. It's good to look. It's good. I heat bobby pins with a lighter and use them to brand little loops across my wrists. I name the scars after angels: Michael, Gabriel, Raphael. I don't want to die. I just want to look sad. I want to cry tears so perfect they are made of glass. I stuff each finger into a black glove and belt my man's shirt for all the times my mother called me marimacha. I climb on top of the kitchen table and say, "I am el rey, and you are mi reina, and all of this, mi reino." My brother sets up a camera to capture this, then stands in a corner, leans against a wall with his hands in his pockets. I call my man mi reina over and over. My macho takes care of me good, because he's a citizen de los United States. I got a stove this big, a refri this full, a mirror just to see my pretty face. He says, "My name's on this license. I drive la troca, so you don't have to, mija. I am a citizen de los United States." Because he's a citizen, we are muy lejos de Dios, but we love los United States. I don't wash laundry with cakes of jabón sote, because my macho takes care of me good. I bring my macho Nescafé, American-made, because he's a citizen de los United States. I ask for feria to go to a doctor, and he says, "Ingrata, you're not sick." I clean chiles, then rub my eyes. "Siempre lloras, chillona." And he's right. I lloro sin saber por qué. I bring my macho smoke in a glass and smooth every shirt with my new electric iron. He says, "No hay nadie en casa. Why wear clothes at all?" So I don't. I fry chicharrones, hiss, hiss across my bare skin. Bang, bang, my macho's fists on the table. He wants más, más y más in his United States. I give him all of me served on a platter from back home, plump, cracked, and ready-made. Crunch, crunch, eats my macho. "You married him," says my mother, "and he takes care of you good in his United States." Lima, Limón. Madures. I wear a peineta and pin a mantilla to my hair. I want to be Conchita Piquer warning women about becoming lemons. The goal? Tener alguien quien me quiera. I want to be my mother singing me to sleep. A la Lima y a Limón. Te vas quedar soltera. My grandmother hated peinetas, mantillas, and women who wore too much gold. She'd say this pulling my hair tight into a bun. She hated peinetas and mantillas. Pero la necesidad obliga. I don't want to be the woman whose skin dissolves into the caldos she makes for her dying parents. That kind of woman cries alone, because she has no fat husband to make her cry in a home of her own. A la Lima y al Limón. Tú no tienes quien te quiera. A la Lima y al Limón. Te vas quedar soltera. Women's work. I embroider the days of the lunar calendar on handkerchiefs to track my menstrual emissions. The only way to catch a stray breath is by exhaling on glass and releasing from its cage the river that lives among pulsing cilia. I place a TV the size of my palm between my legs, and by its glare see a moonless night. I laugh at the thought of burglary, stitch a cigar under an apple tree on my belly, fall asleep to the soft sound of thread tugging on skin, and wish my grandmother could show me how to wash my feet with a bucket of sand and a kettle of hot water. I work to make my body a comfort. My body. The table where strangers sit to be served, as king in a court of cross-stitched felons, each felon with a needle's prick assassins down the highway of my legs. An eyelash is pressed taut against fabric, and I know my body is a sutured thing, which by my hand can be torn, and with a needle stitched again. He has an oral fixation. He can't stop putting the dead flowers, the dead head nails, the dead weight sacks of flour in his mouth. He can't stop writing about the mouth. The way he woke up to his mouth full of bees, their dead crunch still stinging his gums. He writes, There's something beautiful in the way a mouth can be broken by saliva and cold air. She broke his mouth open and filled it with lead-tainted earth. She made him brain-dead through the mouth, licked the honey she pulled from his incisors like sap from a tree. His mouth, with its stretch marks running along each cheek. She's never seen anything like it. His mouth, a scar of hunger, a scar of his gluttony after the hunger. Stop writing about the mouth, the teeth, the gums, the impacted tooth and its psychedelic blues and greens. Stop writing how she bit your mouth and with a blowtorch welded its dark open shut. Stop writing about the mouth, the tongue, the holy molars, the wear of grinding yourself to bone. Stop writing about the mouth, his mouth, your mouth, her mouth. Lima, Limón. Vejes. My body is a fruteria where wives send their husbands to ask for a dozen limones. I pull at the fat around my waist and unravel a plastic bag. I count each limon from the bin between my ribs and feel for the juice under thin skin. Each husband takes a piece of my body home with him in every limon. A piece of my body he can slice into quarters and squeeze into his beer. A piece of my body to press into sugar and feed to his children laughing at the TV. What more can I give than my body in pieces to strange husbands? What more can I give than the limones that grow between my breasts? I tell each husband, Ay, limón, mi limonero. Show me your list. Sonnet for $1. You tied the boy's shoes every morning. You washed his desk with shaving cream. You opened your mouth and let him look inside. You kicked teacher in the shin and said, Sorry, miss. You kissed him on the lips for 5 seconds. You gave him shivers. You gave him the knife. You read books in a whisper, close to his face. You let him slap you, then rock you in his arms. You let him unclasp your bra with his eyes closed. You let him call you puta in front of his friends. You let him bite your finger until it turned purple. You crawled on your hands and knees like a dog. When you told your father all the things you'd done for $1, he laughed and laughed. Kept. I was so thirsty, you cracked an egg into my mouth. I ate it and thanked you. We were so rich then. I imagined the moon, a being I'd never seen, in every nail you'd use to tack the tarp over our heads. I confused hens clucking for the ringing of the phone you'd never let me answer. With a spatula to my ear, I'd pretend to be a woman on TV and say, Bueno? Your anger was the gun you kept by the door. My fear, the knife I used to chop onions. One night you confused the sound of a snake rattling for rain. The snake opened its jaw and its fangs were the color of mud. You reached for my thighs just before you died, and I couldn't face you. Once you stopped breathing, I rubbed your beard between my hands and played the most beautiful cumbia. We danced for the first time since our wedding. Discovery. Her knees are caves, her belly home to a colony of snakes. I draw maps of lands she's never seen on the palms of her hands. My arms, a river that floods her throat. Her thirst, a tongue washed with charcoal. Say, help. She will show me how to harvest the roots of any tree. Say, sky. I'll pinch every inch of her skin. I named her America because I own her body and her child's. Every river down her arms I must rename. When I got the cartography wrong, I said, tear the map in half, so we won't get confused. America's hands bled and bled. I told her, clean it up. I didn't know you could buy something not for sale until I walked through Coyoacán and watched gringos ignore sign after sign. Casa no en venta. Still, I watched men knock on door after door, stalking houses they could paint blue, just like Frida Kahlo's. It's like the time 2 thieves knocked me to my knees for $20. I thought the thieves jewelers as they punched my jaw until each tooth turned dark amber. Later, to save my body, I set my teeth, muddy stones, into a crown I wore the rest of summer. I know how to hide bruises, so the earth won't get jealous of lightning produced by simple friction. My landscape of curves and edges that breaks light spectral is not for sale. But men still knock on rib after rib, stalking the perfect house, the perfect shade of blue. Lima Limón, decrepitud. When the stranger learns I speak Spanish, he makes me stand in my underwear and read from Borges's El Aleph. And because I only want the stranger to love me, I read and wonder if Borges could help me jump through a period on the page to my death. After, the stranger whispers, "You are Lima. Your tongue strips ink from pages." I wonder if the stranger imagines Lima as green or yellow, as sweet or bitter, or as a city where the snow collects on your lover's eyelashes in mid-July. Say Limon, clean and ripe and bursting on your tongue. Say lemon, broken and ugly and not up to par. Say Lima, rimac and rima, and spoken from God. God speaks. Rima, rimac. God has spoken. Rimac, rima. Lemon, Lima, limón. Te vas porque yo quiero que te vayas. A la hora que yo quiera te detengo. Yo sé que mi cariño te hace falta. Porque quieras o no, yo soy tu dueño. You go because I want you to go. At the time I want you, I'll stop you. I know that you miss my affection, because like it or not, I am your master. José Alfredo Jiménez, La Media Vuelta. Macho, hembra. I cleaned chiles until my fingers burned to feed him. Like my father did to my mother at parties, he called me tontita. When we danced, I pressed my body against his. He smiled and pet my head like a dog. A good hembra never speaks of the violence of men. She is a la mode. A sheet cake soaked in milk and left suspended. She had no decorations, so she placed a sugar bowl on top. She placed her man at the head of the cake and told him to close his eyes and relax. Lean back, mi rey. You deserve comfort at the head of my cake. She wanted to capture the cake before it was consumed, so she called her brother-in-law and asked him to stand behind the cake for good balance. She jumped on top of the cake, folded her legs like Minnie Mouse, and told everyone to be cool. This cake was going to be in a movie. She was going to call it a la mode, and this was to be the opening scene. But there's no ice cream, her man said. No, my body is the ice cream, she said, and pursed her lips for the camera until her mouth became a dark wound. Her man, who adored her again for a minute, said, "You're so dumb. Clean up this kitchen already, da asco." She waited for the hot water to run and poured a capful of bleach in the sink. She cried, "All my movies are no movies. All my movies are not mine." My gift. I run around the block eating an orange and drop its rind in continents on concrete. This is my gift to the suburb, which told me not to burn logs when the air quality is marked yellow. My dog chases me around the block, barking, and a woman yells from her portrait window she could sue me for not using a leash. My phone reminds me to take a shower, so I do. It's not that I'm dirty. It's that I'd rather stay in bed wearing fur, watching documentaries about Dior. I apologize to no one while scrubbing my scalp until it bleeds. I know what it is to stare at yourself in a shattered mirror and not remember if it was you who broke it. I wanted to see if I could mine my body for rubies, and look, I can. I write a letter and don't send it. Here is a book and a ruby. One from my body, the other I made after a fit with a pen. Both worth nothing. But I like the thought of a man picking them up and holding them in his hands. Macho, hembra. I laughed because, after all, isn't that what women do? Laugh at jokes at their own expense? I was his pocha hermosa. He'd done good because of my fair skin and green eyes. He liked keeping me in my underwear in his room, like a porcelain doll come to life. I was the perfect object. I screamed and was ashamed. He'd hand me matches and I'd strike each one against my teeth to make a flame. I'd whisper in his ear, bruto, and he'd hush me with the word hocicona. I'd cry and he'd kiss me quiet. My whole face fit in his cupped hands. He was el macho. I was la hembra. To clean his body, I'd blow smoke from my cigarette on his shoulders. I told myself I had found un buen macho. He was mi cielo. Sky of my many deaths. Aesthetic translation. The statistics speak for themselves. I learned to read by sounding out the names in obituaries of those who had died. There were so many people I could never finish the section before leaving for school. 6 women are murdered a day. Obituaries. Proof you can only die once. 6 more women will die today. 6 more women will die tomorrow. W. Woe. Womb. Womb. Women, women, women. 95% of the murders in Juarez are not investigated. My room was a palace of stickers and small stuffed toys. Because I could only leave the house with a man, I never left the house. Not because it was dangerous, but because my parents couldn't remember whether I knew how to swim. Even the desert floods in July, erasing all proof. Charles Bowden says, "The poor bastards are being ground up since the day they were born." I am a poor bastard who licks the dirt from under her nails. Dirt ground by the same beetles that eat people in their makeshift graves. Femicide, Charles Bowden wrote, was an hembra lie about machos. A myth. Years later, Charles Bowden would speak for Mexican women, of the violence of machos, of femicide, for glossy magazines far away. Charles Bowden, collector of violence against hembras. He won't let women speak. Even after death, he depends on the desert shroud. Whatever lesson Juarez holds from Mexico.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?